Let us try to understand bubble sort in this particular video. In the first iteration, 124 and 27, which are there in indexes 0 and 1, are going to be compared. 124 is larger than 27. So these two elements are going to be swapped. So 27 comes here and 124 is going to take index number 1. Now, 124 and 9 are going to be compared. The element in first position and element in second position. So 124 is again larger than 9. So here also swapping is going to happen. So let this 124 come to a temporary location and 9 goes to 124 position and 124 goes to 9 position 9. So now comparison is going to happen between 124 and 12. So here 124 is larger than 12. Again swapping happens. Same thing, 124 is kept in temporary location. 12 is there in 124 position and 124 occupies position of 12. Now the comparison is between 124 and 3. Every time you can see that the element is next two elements are getting compared. 124 and 3 are compared. Swap is going to happen. 124 comes back to the position of 3. Again, now observe that the comparison is between 124 and 7. 124 is larger, so swap is going to happen. So this is end of first iteration. By end of first iteration, we are having these numbers. So now, if you observe, the largest element is occupying the last position. This is the characteristic feature of bubble sort. So let us mark this with some color. 124 is already there at right position. Now, when we go for second iteration, we need to do bubble sorting only from 0th number to 0th index. This is index 0, this is index 1, 2, 3, 4. So only up to index 4 it is sufficient for us to go, because already the element which is there in 5th position is already in right position, correct position. So now let us try to see in the second iteration how bubble sort works. Copy these elements. So initially we are comparing elements which are there in 0th position and first position. 27 is larger than 9. So 9 is going to be swapped with 27. 9 is there in temporary location. 27 occupies position of 9. 9 occupies position of 27. Now, let us compare 27 and 12. So 27 is larger than 12. Again, swap is going to happen. If you observe the way that we are doing the internal working, you can easily write the code as well for swapping. So now 27 is compared with 3. So 27 is larger than 3. So swapping is going to happen. 27 occupies the position of 3 and 3 is going to occupy the position of 27. Now let us compare 27 and 7. Again 27 is larger than 7. So again we have to go for a swap. Done. So by end of second iteration, if you observe, 27 also occupying its right position. So both 27 and 124 are in sorted order now. They occupied their correct positions. Now, when we go for the third iteration, it is sufficient for us to start to apply bubble sort from the starting location 0 to the location index 3. So up to this point we can do. So let us see how our third iteration goes. Let us compare now 9 and 12. 9 is smaller than 12. So there is no swap required. Now 12 is compared with 3. 12 is larger than 3. Here there is a need for us to swap the numbers. 12 is occupying the position. Here 3 is occupying the position of 12. So now let us compare 12 with 7. 12 is larger than 7. So hey, here again swap is going to happen. 12 occupies the position of 7 and 7 occupies the position of 12. So if we see by end of third iteration, all these last 3 elements are in sorted order. So position 12 is there in its appropriate index. So now let us start with the fourth iteration. Let us take only elements from 9 till 7. 9 and 3 are compared with each other. So 9 is larger than 3. So let us try to swap these two elements. 9 comes and occupies position of 3. 3 occupies the position of 9. And now let us compare 9 and 7. In 9 and 7, 9 is larger than 7. So now let us try to swap 9 and 7. So understand that whenever the position is larger than the next position, swap is going to happen. So now 9 is also having its appropriate position. In fifth iteration, by beginning of the fifth iteration, we are now left with this array. So we are trying to compare these two elements, 3 and 7. This is only the applicable portion of the comparison, because from 9 onwards, there is no need for us to compare. So when 3 and 7 are compared with each other, they are in their sorted order only. 3 is smaller than 7. So there is no need of swap. So we can declare up to this point, we can declare that the entire array is swapped. So this we consider it as bubble sort algorithm. Let us try to see the code part of it as well. So when we see the code, this I is equal to 0 to 7. Here I mentioned as 7 because I took a static array. If you are taking elements with n, then you have to say I is equal to 0 to I less than 7. That is what is the logic that we need to use. So here I represents iterations, first iteration, second iteration, third iteration. This is what is represented with the iterative variable I. And J represents, like we are traversing from left to right to compare each and every element. That iteration is represented with the variable J. So now if we see your outer loop, I is running from 0 to 7 or 0 to n. The inner loop, if you observe, every time J is going to start at 0th location only. If you see here, whether it is first iteration or second iteration or third iteration or nth iteration, every time we are comparing 0th element with first element with second element with third element. This is the process we are following. So every time we are starting J from 0 only. So that is our starting position. Whereas the ending position is varying from iteration to iteration. For the first iteration, we are ignoring the last number. For the second iteration, we are ignoring last two numbers. For the third iteration, we are ignoring last three numbers. So for ith iteration, we can ignore last 5 places. So that is what is represented in this logic. You have to start from j is equal to 0 and go up to n minus I minus 1. That is the logic involved here. Here we mentioned as 7 because we do have 7 numbers. If we are taking n numbers, we have to say j less than n minus I minus 1. That is what is the meaning of the two for loops. And once we reach the inner for loop, what are we doing? We are comparing every time the 0th element with first element with second element with third element. Likewise, we are comparing. So jth element is compared with j plus 1th element. That is what the if condition I wrote it here. If jth element is greater than j plus 1th element, in case of ascending order, we need to swap. So while explaining the working scenario as well, I told the number has to be kept it in temporary location and number goes to the other number and other number is occupied with the temporary variable. That is what we are explaining in these 3 steps. So swapping is going to happen if the first element is greater than the second element. So once this entire nested loop is executed, we can be sure that the elements within the array are sorted as per the bubble sort. So those sorted elements are printed using another for loop. This is how we can convert our algorithm into code. Thank you very much.